I imagine all of us as facilitators, we all have certain assumptions about where clients are coming from and where their mindset is when we start. For me, I have very much a clear assumption that pretty much everyone that walks into a switch-on program has no desire to want to get hurt. In fact, they probably have a perception on themselves that they're doing a pretty good job, particularly people who've had more than a few years' experience. So they've come in with set attitudes and justifications to support those attitudes. And so in my mind, what the entire program is about is creating an opportunity where people can feel safe enough to reflect on, is what I'm doing really as okay as I thought it was? Now I say that because the way I approach the brain is very much targeting this idea. I want to plant seeds at the beginning of the program when I do the brain. And I won't necessarily do it in facilitation mode while I'm doing the brain, but I'll tell you after about how I link a couple of key points that I'm not sure because I haven't worked with too many people, I may do differently than some of the rest of you. But this gets linked back continuously. These couple of points, they show up in the accountability model, and they show up in the belief model, and certainly above and below the line. And if you think about it, those models, so we start with the brain, accountability, belief model, and above and below the line. From my perspective, these are all opportunities to just chip away at the defenses that people have around their current mindset around safety. My clinical training said the goal here was that when you're trying to shift attitudes and beliefs, at least initially, day 2 I push a lot harder, but on day 1, I don't want the issue to be between the participant and me. And if I come at them too hard on day 1, then I'm the one with the issue. What I want to do is start, the term's called cognitive dissonance. I want to start challenging the way they're making sense of the world, and does it really add up? And it's kind of like a soft sell salesman, and kind of planting the seeds as to why change might be appropriate for them. I open the session with, particularly if I've got 5 minutes just before I introduce the leader. Introduce who I am, but I say, look, I'm going to give you a lot more about what this program's about, but here's the Reader's Digest version. I said, who here has heard of there's knowing something and then there's getting it? And I'll wait for people to try and come up with some explanations about that. And I'll go, well, let me give you a hand here. How many people here know that you should exercise at least 3 to 4 hours a week? Pretty much everybody puts up their hands. Then I'll go, how many people actually exercise 3 to 4 hours a week? And I'll acknowledge that I don't do it either. Everybody knows safety is important. You don't need to come to a 2-day program or a 1-day program to know that. You know that. But I said, I'm willing to bet dollars to donuts that most of you in the room may be still struggling with getting it. I said, I've been doing this for 13 years, and I don't even think I've got it yet. In fact, I'm not sure if it's a destination. It's more of a journey. But I know that I'm getting closer, because when I introduced myself this morning when you came into the program, I said, I don't see you as employees of X organization. I don't see you as operators or engineers or HR staff or whoever we've got represented in the room. I see you as mothers. I see you as fathers, husbands, wives, brothers, sisters. I see you for the relationships that you're representing right now. Because when I talk to people who I believe get safety, will understand this little statement. Safety is never just about you. It's never just about you. And then I'll ask somebody to say, so what am I getting at? What do I mean? Sometimes people will say, oh, it's about looking out for our colleagues. I go, absolutely. But who else is it about? And then they'll say, yeah, I guess it's for our families. And I say, then I'll ask, look, I'm going to ask a really personal question. I don't want any answers out loud. But I said, who here has known someone who's died either as a result of a workplace fatality or a sudden death? You usually get 1 or 2 people, and I'll go, I don't want to know any details, but can you answer this question? If you had to calculate the number of people who were directly impacted by that one death, how many people are we talking about? And we get 10s, 20s, 30s, hundreds. And I said, so this is the thing. When people get safety, they understand the ripple effect. They understand that this isn't simply about being injured or damaged. the ripple effects of these go far and wide. Now that ripple effect I come back to when I show the ITSA video. And that's my link when I'm debriefing the impact of the family members in the ITSA video, that I go to the top 4. That's my link there. So then the leader comes on, they do their thing, I come back. And I walk them through the core 4 very quickly, but I come back to the switch on and I say, so what does it mean to be switched on for safety, or when you're switched on? What does it mean?
Follow the rules.
Follow the rules, okay? So know what the rules are, follow them. What else?
You're alert.
We're alert, we're focused, we're aware of what's going on. And I think I'll give you AAA plus for those. I think we want to be aligned with the rules. I think we want to be alert and focused on what we're doing. But there's a third one that you may not have considered before. I think people who switch on understand that it could happen to them. They have what we oftentimes refer to as a healthy unease. And how many people here, if it's a younger group, I'll say, how many people here are under the age of 25? So the good news is this afternoon we're going to be talking about delusional thinking. So I said, when it comes to car insurance, something happens magically when you're 25. What happens?
Your premiums go down.
Yeah, so why? Why do our insurance rates go down when we turn 25?
Less dangerous.
Well, at least statistically speaking, we're less likely to be involved in a car crash. Why do you think that's the case? What happens?
Cars are more expensive.
Yes, we got more to lose potentially. What else?
Experience.
Experience. And what does experience teach us?
We're better at cause and effect.
Yeah, that maybe we've had a few close calls and we realize maybe we're not quite as good as we thought we were. So we're a little bit more likely to think a little bit more about what we do. And when it comes to safety in general, to switch on is to understand that it could happen. And therefore, I need to be switched on every day. Because today may look exactly like yesterday did, but there could be something else that happens. Now, the other thing is, of course, after we've introduced this, I talk about, well, all incidents are preventable. I said, that's a pretty big statement. All incidents are preventable. And I would imagine as you look at that, for some of you in the room, maybe most of you in the room, you might be going, yeah, in an ideal world, that may be a nice endpoint, but let's face it, people do stupid things and you can't fix stupid. I said, got to think about this. Let me give you a working definition of what I mean by incidents. And I know some of you do this as well. I like to think of there's accidents and then there's incidents. Accidents are events that we say have energies. The energies, what are the energies that you're required to use to do the business that you do? And electrical, chemical, thermal, hydraulic, gravitational. Well, we say accidents occur when those energies couldn't have been managed in any way, shape, or form, and you combine that with something unpredictable happening, and you get a situation where equipment is damaged or people are injured. The flip side to this, though, is incidents. And when we talk about incidents, what we're referring to is events that have those same energies, electrical, chemical, thermal, hydraulic. But in this case, we say those energies could have been managed, and for whatever reasons, they weren't. Now, accidents do happen. There's no doubt about it. And depending on the industries, they'll use those two terms interchangeably. But if only for the next 2 days, I want to make a clear distinction about what an incident is and what an accident is, so that we're only going to focus on incidents. Because accidents, by definition, there's nothing we can do about anyways. But incidents, we can do something about that. We can choose to switch on. We can choose to manage those energies. And by the way, would you agree with this? That if we invest time to make sure that we don't create incidents, would you agree that we may be actually helping someone prevent an accident for someone else because of something that we've caused? You know, my background is I worked in addictions treatment. And in the addictions treatment world, there's a statement called 1 day at a time. Why do you think they are encouraging people with substance abuse problems to think 1 day at a time when it comes to their recovery?
It's just too deep to think forever.
Exactly, just too big, and the brain will overload. How many people here have gone 1 day without being involved in an incident? Anybody gone a week? How about a month? Anybody in the room a year? Could you imagine if I changed that and I said all incidents are preventable today? How many people would go, I can buy into that? So what we need to do is think in terms of every day we come to work switched on. Every day, all incidents are preventable today. I'll worry about tomorrow when tomorrow comes, but I'll worry about that today. This is what is something that I can do.